Terrence, just want to start off with Audi globally, especially the Asian region.
Right.
2013, a pretty good year. So
Yeah.
I just want to get a sense, how did 2013 really pan out for the brand? We've had some pretty challenging markets, but so how really was it?
Yeah. 2013 turned out very well for us, better than expected, to be honest. We had expected to cross 1.5 million units sometime end of 15 into 2016. So in 2013, we actually did 1.57 million units worldwide. So that turned out really well. India is a really good example of a market that really stood out and had a very good 2013 for us.
Right, but obviously a lot of that growth has been led by China, where
Sure.
India is minuscule compared to that. So is the China story still very big, or do you see it kind of overheated and flattening?
The China
out?
market's very big. So yeah, I mean, we certainly have been doing extremely well there. We're number one in China. We're now number one in 40 markets around the world. Being now number one in India is great for us. It's the second market in Asia where we're number one. So China is a certain scale. It's a unique scale, but we're ahead of plan in India as well. Well, actually, two years ahead of plan.
Right, but India is still a very small market, just 10,000 units, to give you sufficient scale to do a lot more, and especially in terms of production. Is that a bit of a frustration that you've got a mix of, you can't really localize too much, so you're really vulnerable to currency fluctuation and that sort of thing? So is that one of the bigger challenges? You just don't have the scale as yet?
Yeah. I mean, India is certainly challenging. You can't be frustrated by India, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. But it's challenging. The way I look at India is that you really have, luxury is very much an emerging segment in the marketplace. It's not even 2% of the total sales. However, the total size of the Indian market now at 2.5 million units is not small on a global basis. It's by anything but small, and yet it's still a drop in the bucket for where India will be. So we don't have a timeline for how India will grow or how quickly it will grow. That's something that is going to be, the other factors are at force. What we are committed to is growing with India, is being part of the journey in India, listening very carefully to our customers, and then bringing out customer products when it's right for the customers. The car that we're launching here at the show, the A3 sedan, is a perfect example, right? We're coming in with a sedan as opposed to perhaps a hatchback. In our minds, is the right place to put compact luxury.
Again, I just want to get your sense that moving forward, your growth in India will really come from the right product mix, and let's say even more product offerings at the affordable end of the spectrum. I mean, there's talks of a Q1, there's talks of, let's say a future A1 at some point. So logically, one could assume that these eventually will come, because it's really the affordability in a price-sensitive market like India that's going to really drive your growth.
Yeah, I think we look at our development in a series of phases. Phase one was just establishing the brand, and for us the center of gravity for the Audi brand is around the sedans, the A4, A6, A8 sedans, and then bringing in the SUVs, right? And so I think we did that very well. Stage one with the sedans, stage two with the SUVs, the Q3, Q5, Q7. And so I think that began to really place Audi on the map with great driving experiences, really began to develop a core idea of what Audi is. That was the basis from which now we expand as we start looking at that, making luxury more accessible, right? So ultimately, luxury can come in different sizes and packages. It doesn't have to be huge to be luxurious. It can also it can come in a small package, like a great small piece of chocolate, right? So for us, going into the A3 sedan is all about now, in fact, bringing the Audi experience of fabulous, distinctive design, the progressive engine technology, performance with efficiency, bringing that together into a great interior environment, this wonderful quality of products, the craftsmanship to bring it together. That is luxury. It's luxury, though, in a package that's more harmonious with maybe the traffic conditions in India. So yes, it's also more accessible. What happens next is something we have to. We don't want to. There's a pace, I think, in how we want to develop. We don't ever want to lose sight of who we are as at the center of our brand. It's still going to be about the A4, the A6, the Q3, the Q5, the Q7, the A8. That still is very much the heart and soul of Audi. And then, you know, what do we look beyond the A3? At some point, for sure, we will. In Europe, we do already.
Yeah.
But I think right now the time is right to look at the compact sedan really as the next frontier for luxury.
Yeah. Some of your competitors say that Audi has a rich parent, they can afford to buy market share. So in terms of, you've got some very strategic pricing, very aggressive pricing, and that's borne out by what you offer in the market. Is that a strategy? I mean, obviously you want to grow profitably, but in the initial stages, would you be willing to, let's say, compromise a bit of the profit just to get a bit more market share?
Generally, no. Generally, no. We're not, as much as we want to win and be number one in any market, certainly in India, we don't want to do it at any cost. If you look at, for example, some of the recent price increases, we've actually increased price a little bit more across the range. If you look at like for like, if you adjust for equipment levels, we're priced pretty aggressively. There may be one or two models where we have an advantage. There are certainly one or two models where we're at the premium versus our luxury competitors. In general, though, we do. There really isn't a scenario where we would say we would ever sacrifice profitability. We would ever sacrifice the brand. One of the things we'll never do is take content out of a car, strip down a car to try to say, okay, now somehow that's an affordable price. We don't want to do that. We want to bring the full Audi experience, maybe in a smaller package at times, but it's going to be the full Audi experience.
All right. The last question: what's the toughest part about India, in terms of is it just the sheer economics of just the affordability issue?
Oh, I actually think the toughest part is not to get ahead of ourselves. So we know that India promises great things, but we also we need to take it step by step, and so it's not going to be a linear growth. We need to keep a lot of flexibility in our business model, so that we can ramp up quickly if we need to, or we can consolidate if that's going to be required. I think right now we're going through a challenging phase with currency, but that's all part and parcel of going through these phases. Thank you.